Creators, it's Melissa with Melissa's Creations, and today I'm really excited to get to play with one of the Celebration stamp sets, Beautiful Peacock. This set is so gorgeous, and it has several different stamps in it. Two that you can make a beautiful peacock with, and then some beautiful flourishes. I love some good flourishes in our sets. And a couple of sentiments wrapped all together in one package make this celebration set really versatile. We're going to be making two cards today. The first card is a clean and quick card featuring that gorgeous peacock, and we're doing a fun technique to get this modeled, kind of almost a tie-dye effect on that beautiful bird. And then we're going to step this up a notch by adding some beautiful metallic thread and layering this onto a Bermuda Bay card base. We're also adding some gorgeous rhinestones and a few fun accents underneath our sentiment. I can't wait to show you how I made these cards. Let's get started. For our clean and quick card, we have a standard Whisper White card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we have that folded in half, and I've given that a good crease with my bone folder. We're going to bring in our Melon Mambo Classic Stampin' Pad. And we're also going to use our Daffodil Delight pad. You're going to also need an aqua painter for our tie-dye technique. So I'm going to give my Daffodil Delight a couple of squeezes so that I can get a nice pool of ink in the lid of my container. I've mounted up the feathers from the peacock stamp here, and we're going to ink that up and get it nice and inky juicy with that Melon Mambo. And then we're going to take our aqua painter and make sure that it's nice and wet. Just squeeze a couple of drops of water in that cap there. Pick up some of that Daffodil Delight, and then we're just going to kind of drop a couple of droplets all over our stamp here. Now you're going to want a piece of scratch paper to run off the excess so that you don't mix that Melon Mambo into the lid of your Daffodil Delight. So we're just going to tap it a couple times, kind of randomly around our stamp. Let's bring in our Stampin' Pierce mat just to give a little bit of foam cushion to our stamp when we stamp it down, since this is photopolymer. We're just going to stamp it off to the left-hand side over here. Now I'm going to put it straight down. I'm not applying too much pressure, just a little bit of pressure, and I'm going to let it sit for just a minute so that that water can kind of soak into that paper. And there is our beautiful tie-dye effect. What do you think? I'm really excited about that technique. We're done with our Melon Mambo. Now we're going to bring in our Bermuda Bay, and we're doing essentially the same thing with the peacock itself. We're going to stamp it up in that gorgeous Bermuda Bay color. And then we're going to pick up that Daffodil Delight and just do the same thing. Just sprinkle a little bit throughout. Make sure that before you pick up more of that Daffodil Delight, you do run your aqua painter on some scratch paper there. Okay, so just a little bit will do. Now we'll line him up and stamp him down. And again, light pressure, let it sit for just a second before you pick it up. and gorgeous. He is so beautiful with that Bermuda Bay and Daffodil Delight mixing together. Now the last step on our clean and quick card today is to get our sentiment on there. Today is all about you. We're just going to stamp that right down onto the right of our little peacock guy. And there it is. Clean and quick card done. I love it. What do you think? Let's step this up a notch by adding some layers and some embellishments. So I have here a piece of our watercolor paper, and we're going to be cutting out our peacock this time. So we're doing something a little different. We're going to take our peacock stamp and ink it up with that Melon Mambo ink. And again, we're going to take some of that Daffodil Delight on our aqua painter, and we're just going to dabble a couple little pieces here and there of our stamp just to get that tie-dye look. Okay, now we're going to stamp that onto our watercolor paper, and on this we're going to actually be cutting out our peacock. I wanted to change it up and do it on watercolor paper so that you could kind of see the difference. The texture of the paper and the type of cardstock that you're using really does make a difference in what your final image is going to look like. So you can see on this, it's a little bit more splotchy than on our Whisper White bird. So here's kind of a comparison, and we'll do another comparison once the card is all put together. Okay, now we're going to get our peacock done. So I'm going to ink it up in that Bermuda Bay. And I'm going to take my aqua painter and paint on some of that Daffodil Delight. I just love how different this looks on the watercolor paper. It's very textured, and I think it enhances that tie-dyed effect. It's just so beautiful. So now we're going to fussy cut this out with our snips and get the rest of our card put together. On the back of our fussy cut peacock, I'm going to take a little bit of fast fuse so that we can adhere our metallic black thread. So I'm going to pull a little bit out, and what I like to do is just kind of wrap it around my fingers. Now, depending on how big you want your loops, you can either do 3 fingers or you can do 4 fingers. I want my loops relatively small, so I'm going to loosely wrap it around 3 fingers here. All right, so I have a few loops. We're going to snip off that thread. And then I'm just going to put it right down just like this. Make sure you loop those ends, those tails back on. And now you can take some of those loops and kind of separate them out so that a couple of them are going the opposite direction. You can kind of fan them all out. The thing that I like about this metallic thread is how versatile it is and how pliable it is. You can kind of move them all around and just stick them down a little bit, and they will just go where you want. All right, so then once you are happy with what it looks like, you can get your dimensionals out and start placing those down. Now I have my Whisper white cardstock here. This is the mat for the front of my card. It measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I wanted a very thin border on the front of my card of that Bermuda Bay peeking from behind. So that's why I've cut it just 1/8 of an inch smaller than my card base. All right, now we're gonna get our peacock down here. And I have my sentiment that says today is all about you. We're still going to use our Bermuda Bay to ink that up. And we're gonna stamp it right down off to the right of our peacock. And then I've taken the smallest, teeniest little daisy from this set, and we're going to stamp that right under our sentiment with our Daffodil Delight. And we're just going to do a small row of about 5 or 6. We're also going to add a few rhinestones to our beautiful peacock here. Now I'm putting the rhinestones around the peacock, kind of in the intersections of where my metallic thread come together. I just thought that was kind of different and fun. And then I'm going to sprinkle a few more around the card. All right, let's get that popped up onto our card base. All right, creators, there it is. There are our 2 cards, a clean and quick card and a stepped up version using the beautiful Peacock Celebration set. These cards were inspired from the color challenge over at inspirecreatechallenges.blogspot.com. I wanted to submit my card for the design, and I also wanted to share with you how I was able to get that fun tie-dye effect on our peacock. I really hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, please give the video a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought of these cards today. Which is your favorite, the clean and quick or the stepped up version? You can get all the supplies that you need to create this beautiful card over at my website, melissascreations.com. Just scroll to the bottom of the blog post where you see all of the pictures of the materials I used. Go ahead and click on those and they will take you directly to my online store where you can shop for those items. Every $50 that you spend during Celebration in the United States, you earn 1 free stamp set from the Celebration brochure. New this year are level 2 rewards. Ask for details or head over to my website to check out the level 2 options. You can also follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/mcreations and on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest with the handle @mcreations. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bye!